conference championship week, and we are digging into the Big Ten. Ohio State and Indiana from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Buckeyes 4-point faves at DraftKings. We'll talk about the best bets for this thing, whether or not Lucas Oil is going to play like a home field advantage for the Hoosiers, that Heisman battle in this one, and much, much more. Ninja here with Josie Costigan. Welcome to the channel. Hit the thumbs up and that subscribe button if you are new. Let us know what your favorite bet is for the Big Ten championship game down below in the comments. We love hearing from you guys, and we love talking about betting. So let's dig into this one. Fernando Mendoza, plus 160. Julian Sayin, plus 220. These, the Heisman odds at FanDuel. Josie, is this a battle for the Heisman Trophy as much as it is for the top seed in the CFP and the Big Ten championship?
Pretty much, yeah. And I think that's what makes this game really exciting. For me, I think Mendoza, obviously, and just on the odds board too, has a slight edge. I think he's a more dynamic quarterback, 32 touchdown passes, 5 picks, plus the 6 rushing touchdowns. So I think his mobility is adding a layer that Sayin just doesn't really offer. But, Sayin is obviously close enough in that race that a big performance on the biggest stage could, dramatically swing things. So, while both teams are chasing that number 1 seed, the quarterbacks are absolutely playing for something personal. So I think whoever delivers a cleaner, more impactful game probably walks out with the Heisman lead too.
It's just one of many potential intriguing subplots for this game. But let me get your personal opinion straight up here. Who do you trust more as your quarterback, Julian Sayin or Mendoza?
Kind of alluded to it already, but I'm leaning Mendoza here. I think a lot of it just comes down to mobility for me. I think, Sayin is probably the cleaner pocket passer, completing 79% of his passes. But Mendoza just gives Indiana kind of more ways to win drives. Like I said, he's thrown 32 touchdowns, he protects the ball, and then adds that layer with nearly 250 rushing yards and 6 scores on the ground. Sayin has been non-factor as a runner, so in a tight, methodical game like this one, every red zone trip matters. So I'd rather have a guy who can extend those plays, convert them with his legs, and force a defense to really account for all 11 players on the field.
Got to talk about the venue here as well. Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Do you think this game being in Indianapolis will be an advantage for the Hoosiers?
I think maybe a little bit. Indiana probably benefits from the environment just because, the comfort of being closer to home, and obviously their fans travel well. But that said, Ohio State is used to huge stages, and I don't know if anyone caught that Michigan game last week. It was kind of a sea of red sometimes, when I looked out at it. So nothing about Lucas Oil is going to rattle a roster that just went into Ann Arbor and won by 18. So sure, slight boost for Indiana in terms of, like I said, comfort and travel, but both teams are built for this stage, so I don't think it's going to tilt things too dramatically.
Yeah, great point about the Buckeyes coming into this one. Neutral site, but in the state of Indiana, but coming in off a win at the Big House. So no better game to prepare you for this one.
Yeah.
And that Ohio State defense, just so good. 2 teams have scored more than 10 points against this Ohio State defense this season, and the most scored against them was 16. What is this Indiana offense, the coaching staff, Fernando Mendoza, what is this group going to have to do to keep this game competitive?
Yeah, nobody's going to blow the doors off this Ohio State defense. So the Hoosiers' goal isn't let's go score 40, boys. So it's to finish the few chances that you do get, which is something we all saw Michigan fail to do last week. So, Ohio State's not going to give up the big plays. So Indiana has to cash in on, those long, methodical drives. Again, I think Mendoza in the red zone has been money. All of his rushing touchdowns have come, inside the 20 or closer. So, all those little, improvisations with his legs might be the best weapon they have. I also think they have to stay really balanced. That's where, you see a guy like Roman Hemby, kind of come into the mix. Because I think if Indiana gets way too one-dimensional, Ohio State's number 1 defense is just going to take over. So, those 3 to 4 yard carries, are huge wins in a game like this. And obviously, avoid that one back-breaking turnover because we know how both defenses are going to play, and one mistake could just swing everything.
Let us know down below in the comments what you guys at home think the difference maker in this game is going to be. 2 teams that sort of mirror each other, very good offenses, very good defenses, 2 of the top 3 Heisman quarterbacks in the mix here as well. It's an interesting conversation ahead of this Big Ten championship game. And on that note, Josie, It's still sort of early, and you don't have to give away your pick for this one or anything right now, which we will get to momentarily. But I don't know if anyone out there is truly giving Indiana a chance in this one. Like, it's the general public and even the experts. Are we underrating Indiana?
I think so. I think, one, the Hoosiers defense is a lot better than people give it credit for. They've allowed multiple touchdowns just once in their last 6 games. 5 opponents couldn't even crack 17 points, kind of similar to what we've been saying about Ohio State. And, we've seen them handle a complete offense before, back in week 7 against Oregon. A team that actually ranks higher in scoring and rushing than Ohio State. Indiana controlled that game and won 30-20. Obviously, the Buckeyes have the better receiving room than the Ducks. But, I think Indiana has really proven this season that they can hang around with these elite teams. And plus, something really interesting about this matchup, these teams have 5 common opponents this season that they played against. And Indiana actually, from a statistics standpoint, performed better. The average margin was 36.6 points compared to Ohio State's 27.6. They blew out Illinois 63-10. Illinois was ranked then. Ohio State, still took the win against Illinois too, 34-26. They handled UCLA, but, Indiana did so more convincingly than the Buckeyes. So, yeah, I think Indiana's kind of getting slept on a little bit. When a team lines up against Ohio State, the assumption's always the Buckeyes are going to dictate this game. But, I think Indiana has done enough this season to really earn respect.
All right, folks, you can get Prop Professor for 50% off for the first month right now. This app drops hundreds of plus EV bets every day, and it gives you a real shot at finding long-term profit. And you can sort through plays across college football, across the NFL, and plenty more. It's got tools for arbitrage betting. It's got a fantasy optimizer. It is easily, guys, the best bang for buck app on the market. Use the promo code OddsShark50 at checkout to get 50% off for that first month. Let's get into the picks here for this one, the Big Ten championship game. As we sit here, Indiana 4-point dog at Lucas Oil. Total is 47.5. Ohio State minus 198 on the money line. Indiana comes back at plus 164. You've got a couple of picks for this one, Josie, so take it away. What are you looking at?
I like the under 47.5. I think this matchup sets up to be really slow. Indiana and Ohio State rank as 2 of the slowest offenses in the country. The Hoosiers average, just under 30 seconds per play, and the Buckeyes are over almost 32 seconds per play, which is the longest mark in the nation. Ohio State rarely giving up big plays, and Indiana's defense is, again, better than most realize, to be honest. Also, the under has hit in 9 of the last 10 and 7 straight when Ohio State is a road favorite of 4.5 points or more. And then I also I wish I had my Indiana hat. Fernando Mendoza, anytime touchdown, I got plus 320 at FanDuel. Really like those odds. Again, I've been saying I think his mobility is a difference maker. He's rushed for 6 touchdowns this season, has found the end zone in 4 of his last 5. Again, all within the red zone too. So in a game where both offenses are, likely to lean on the run and squeeze that clock, a scrambling dual threat quarterback is exactly what I want, and that becomes very, very valuable. So I think his ability to create in tight spaces, especially near the goal line, makes him a strong play to score again. Plus, he's got Heisman voters watching, so you might as well show off a little bit.